Studio Practice 2, student number STU 85450. Question 1. Selecting a brief. To choose a brief, I began by doing some brief research on each company. This included company background, some of the existing products they had, and which price points they have. I broke down each brief question into what the challenge was, what deliverables they wanted, and noted any keywords that they were asking. Following this, I did a consideration of my own strengths and weaknesses, which was in general and from past modules, and this would help me explore and challenge the weaknesses and to see which brief would interest me the most. I decided to go forward with Brief 2, which was creating the brand identity and a dairy product line for the Innocent Drinks company. To begin, I created a mind map of key initial ideas, what Innocent's brand values were, and the competitors of Innocent. Question 2, to create research. I then made some more in-depth research of Innocent. This included their slogans, brand promise, vision statements. I then looked into the logo and their other brand identity elements like the website. I then looked into their marketing strategies. They're very prevalent on social media and they like to use a very relaxed, sarcastic and comical language to entice their audience. I then used analysis of the marketing mix for Innocent and also their segmenting, targeting and positioning. This helped me determine their audience, which was for people who are concerned with a healthier lifestyle and also concerned with environmental issues. I also did some research into doing a SWOT analysis for Innocent branding. From this, I identified they were criticised for the lack of product variation and also selling shares to Coca-Cola, but they were also appreciated for their good morals and values. Next, I looked into the past packaging that they've had and how their packaging has developed over the years. As a brand, they've always considered environmental issues, but the aesthetics of the packaging has always stayed the same, which could be good as it's recognisable to many people. I then did some market research and had a look at some of the current dairy products that are in the supermarkets. This allowed me to have a look at the trends and also a gap in the market for my own dairy product line. It was also important to look at actually what organic dairy products are and why they're important. Question 3, to create mood boards and mind maps on my initial ideas. First, I had to come up with a brand name. So I tried to make a connection through Innocent and also a dairy product. I also had a look at the options for which dairy products I could create. Question 4, creating mood boards. This first mood board was how other people present the word organic when they're talking about branding. I found that the colours tend to be very neutral with muted tones and soft colours. They used organic shapes and often sans serif typefaces which are modern and fresh. The second mood board was looking at existing dairy product branding. People always use cow imagery, bubble playful decorative typefaces, bright colours and hand-drawn aesthetics. And finally, for the mood boards, I had a look at other packaging for dairy products. Most people tend to go for sustainable but innovative. And then from here, I drew initial ideas on potential packaging for milk and frozen yogurt products. Within my packaging, I was looking for innovation, flat pack and refillable options. I then looked at initial ideas into the posters, which included catchphrases which could follow the sarcastic tone that Innocent used for their marketing. Question 5 was completing the in-lesson activities and writing a reflection on how I think they're important. Question 6, to review the brainstorms, mind maps and mood boards from reflecting on the in-lesson design tasks. These were my initial mood boards. For my final mood board, I took elements from both the organic mood board and the aesthetic mood board. I decided to use pops of colour with pastels and also to use organic shapes and fine illustrative drawings, which gave it the whole aesthetic a premium feel. Question 7. Beginning the design process. I began with the initial logo ideas. For this, I wanted to create something with cow imagery, and then I also used experimentation with shape, negative space, line, and incorporating the innocent logo. I found that negative space was the most appealing. Next step was to choose a typeface. I wrote down my brand name out to see which typeface I felt really reflected the brand name most effectively. I chose the Blushing Cow as it gave some innocent vibes, just like the original brand. It also reflected Innocent's values and the organic element of the dairy products. From here, I decided that I wanted a bubble typeface that wasn't joined, had a casual feel to it. So from here, I tried new typefaces under this criteria, and I decided on the typeface Alpha Kind. From here, I manipulated the typeface. I used the pencil tool in Illustrator to make it more rounded, and added cow imagery to the G, the U, and manipulated the L to make it form around the letter forms to add movement and direction. Next, I tried mixing typefaces to see if it would add any more interest. I later on got feedback from this. To choose a colour palette, I tried using Canva colour palette generator, but it wasn't the right brand visual style that I wanted to go for. It was too autumnal, didn't have enough bright colours, but it was good inspiration for my actual colour palettes that I used. From here, I created 2 more different colour palettes. I also created some brief research on sustainability for packaging, ready for the next step. Next was to determine which products I was actually going to design for, which was milk, milkshakes, yogurt, and frozen yogurt. Here was the packaging designs that I decided on. For the materials, I chose plant-based coatings for strength and durability, but also didn't affect the recyclability of it. I wanted also designs that were flat pack. I used a wine gift bag as inspiration. I then created some wireframes for the design on the packaging. This was symmetrical and asymmetrical, and this also made it easier to place elements when it came to actually inserting design. Here's my initial design for the milk. Unfortunately, the decorative elements made it too busy and not enough focus was on the text. This was the same for the milkshake design. On the milkshake design, I added some hand-drawn elements to tie into my mood board and inspiration. These were the wireframes for my frozen yogurt design layout. I then had a look into the poster design. The main elements that I wanted on the posters was the logo, the image of the product, decorative elements, links to the website and social media, and also a comical catchphrase that would get audience's attention. Question 8 was to refine and improve my ideas based on feedback that I'd received. For the logo design, everyone's favourite was the original design, which didn't mix any of the typefaces. They found that it was more cohesive and had more options for experimentation. They also suggested that I could incorporate more of a character design into the cow imagery, and this would help reflect on the brand name, the Blushing Cow. I then experimented with shape of the blush part of the character. Another comment was the black was too overpowering, so then I changed the entire thing to white with outlines, and this would allow me to add colour to any design that I needed to. I then tested my colour palettes with the brand identity that I'd come up with. From here, I was able to determine a final and improved colour palette. This consisted of pops of colour and also a few pastels. The final brand identity. I then refined the designs for the milk and the milkshakes to make it less busy and to make the overall visual hierarchy more balanced. These were my final milk and milkshake packaging designs. The mock-ups would show how the products would look, although I couldn't use the packaging design that I'd come up with as there wasn't any mock-ups available for it. This was my design process for the frozen yogurt packaging. I then decided to experiment with the colours from my colour palette. The best option was a mix of colours which complemented the logo and the product name on the packaging. This was my final frozen yogurt packaging design. I also made an alternative flavour to see how the colours would work. This was my poster initial ideas. Again, I created wireframes to be able to design these. To improve the posters, I played with the typography to make it more legible. This was the design process for my second poster. Again, I changed the typography to make the text more legible and also to change the visual hierarchy. The decoration for this poster was inspired by the Innocent website. These are hand-drawn flowers which link back to the brand itself. This was poster design free, but I ended up removing this as I didn't like it at all. Question 9. Experimentation to improve my designs. I decided to experiment with using the brand colours on the poster number 2. This helped it become more cohesive with the other poster and also helped reflect the brand better. I used a gradient for poster number 1 to make it more cohesive with the second poster. I decided to experiment with the layout of this poster. The asymmetric layout actually helped improve the visual hierarchy and made the text more clear. For my final experiment, I decided to create a pattern from the logo. I used this as decoration for the carton packaging itself. Although I like this, I've decided that I'd just use it on the side of the packaging and keep the original design. Here are the mock-ups for the poster designs. This is the final concept board of the whole brand identity and the packaging that I've designed.